Some destinies are forged in shadows. Kira hid among the ruins of a crumbling castle, heart racing, pulse thudding in her ears. The night whispered secrets, an unseen threat lurking just beyond the reach of her senses. This was it. Her latest target. Draven, the Alpha King of the Lycan realm. She had trained her entire life for this moment, refined her skills in the dark, mastered the art of silence. Yet beneath her determination was a flicker of doubt, a ghost of fear clawing at her resolve. The wind howled, twisting through the cracks in the stone walls, as if warning her to turn back. But the price of failure was dire. Payment for this contract could change everything. 26 years old, Kira had lived as a rogue Omega assassin, cast aside by society. Orphaned and alone, she learned the harsh lessons of survival in a world that viewed her kind as weak and helpless. Dismantling lives had become her specialty. Each target meant another step toward earning respect, another moment closer to breaking the oppressive chains of her past. The king, a legend wrapped in power. Draven ruled with an iron paw. The tales hummed with awe, his name spoken in hushed tones among kindred spirits and wavering hearts. To assassinate him was to step into the lion's den, a storm cloud looming heavily overhead. But Kira steeled herself. This could be her escape. This could be everything. She felt the weight of magic tingling at her fingertips as she crept deeper into his domain. The air thrummed with anticipation and darkness, shadows wrapping around her like an embrace, yet something left her feeling exposed. A shiver skated down her spine. The damp walls loomed close and the cold seeped into her bones. She pressed a palm against the stone, grounding herself, her breath quickening. And then, he was there. Draven, a force of nature, dark hair framing a sharp, chiseled face, eyes burning with an intensity that made the darkness seem alive. She had pictured him as ruthless, a monster intent on battling everyone in his path. But this was different. It was far more captivating. How could an assassin feel so drawn to her target? Kira shook her head, the resolve steadying her pulse. The thick scent of fresh earth and something deeper wafted through the air, a scent tinged with danger and cloying sweetness, like honeysuckle. His magic swirled around her, strong and intoxicating. But he sensed her, of course. The predator instinct thrummed within him, the air shifting like a tectonic plate beneath them. Kira's breath caught. Did he know her plans? He'd arrived. Just like that. Show yourself. His voice rolled through the shadows, deep and commanding, paralyzing. Kira felt a rush of heat, the answer burning at the back of her throat. He wouldn't let her escape this time, but she wasn't ready to give up yet. The moment spread into eternity, and within that heartbeat, she debated. What was she supposed to do? Her hands gripped tightly onto the dagger hidden in her tunic, palms slick with sweat. It felt like a lifeline. There was a choice looming beyond the blade, a catalyst ready to spark, to fight or to flee. The answer seemed blurred by the intensity, the connection that sparked in the silence. A flicker of understanding passed through those intense eyes, something she hadn't expected. Kira hesitated. Did he see her? Was it possible? Could she stand before him without a mask of anger, without the bitterness of the past? She felt the grip of her instincts eroding, a bond pulling her in. And in that moment, Kira realized, she wasn't just facing a king. She was confronting the depths of her own soul. A mission that was cut and dry now bled into shades of gray, intertwining her fate with his. Waves of uncertainty washed over her. Then everything spiraled into chaos. The world shifted, and she needed to escape. Shadowy tendrils reached out, intertwining with the very fiber of her being. She turned on her heel, breath catching, and sprinted deeper into the darkened halls. The chase had begun, and she could almost taste the danger that lingered in the air. And as darkness enveloped her, one question echoed in her mind. Would she have the strength to carry out her mission, or would fate intervene once more? Kira's heart pounded as she dashed through the twisting halls of the castle, shadows clinging to her as if entreating her to stay hidden. Dim light from flickering torches cast eerie shapes along the stone walls, whispering tales of conquest and betrayal. The layout was labyrinthine, and she had navigated these passages countless times in her dreams. But reality was more urgent, more chaotic. Why couldn't she shake the feeling of being watched? Panic surged through her veins. Each echo of her bootsteps felt like a warning, an alarm of impending doom. She ducked into a narrow alcove, pressing her back against the cool stone, breathless. As she steadied herself, memories twisted and intertwined in her mind. Kira had been just a girl when her world shattered. Orphaned at 12, she had tasted the bitter sting of abandonment when her parents were taken from her in a senseless act of violence. They had fallen victim to a fierce Lycan raid that decimated her village, leaving her to fend for herself. Vows of vengeance took root in her heart. She had sworn never to feel powerless again. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into years as she trained under the tutelage of the syndicate. In those dark confines, she learned to navigate the thin line between darkness and light. Silence became her sanctuary. Dismantling lives, ripping truth from flesh became her art. Each contract she fulfilled brought her a step closer to proving her worth in a world that deemed her weak. When she was given a new assignment, whispers surrounded the name in dangerous tones. Draven, the alphaking. His reputation terrified even the bravest warriors, his ruthlessness rivaling the very beasts he commanded. The tales cast shadows long before the king arrived. To kill him meant stepping into a coliseum full of lions, ready for slaughter. But the payment promised more: freedom, respect, a future she dared to dream of. But now everything felt different. The air vibrated with tension as she recalled his piercing gaze. It ignited a firestorm of emotions that she had buried deep within: the years of isolation, the hunger for acceptance, the craving for connection. Draven didn't just see an assassin, he had seen her. Could it be? Closing her eyes, Kira focused on the mission. She had to push those thoughts aside. The king was still a target, a means to an end. But her heart twisted at that. What had started as an assignment had morphed into something far more dangerous. She felt the very fabric of her reasoning unraveling. A soft grunt broke her thoughts. Footfalls. Pursued. Kira pressed deeper into the alcove, breathing shallowly. Shadows shifted, and a silhouette glided past. Guards, searching. They wouldn't be gentle if they caught her. They wouldn't hesitate. The weight of their weapons and their loyalty to Draven echoed in the silence. Cursing quietly, she felt the panic rising again. How could she escape? She needed to regroup, find a way out of this treacherous place. But she couldn't forget that unsettling connection. Draven had looked into her like he saw the truth. He had recognized something in her that she couldn't fully grasp. Taking a risk, Kira slipped out of her hiding spot, blending into the darkness as silence sought refuge with her again. Her instincts guided her, leading her through dimly lit corridors and into the heart of the castle's ancient architecture. The towering walls held secrets, whispered histories of previous kings and queens, of power struggles that shaped the land. In the eerie quiet, she felt the weight of magic coursing through her, a language she had been born to understand. The tingling surged in her fingers, and all at once, she found herself drawn to the throne room. The grand doors towered before her, engraved with intricate designs, the very air trembling with tension. It was like stepping into another world. What if Draven was waiting inside? What if he had figured her out? She stood on the precipice, heart racing, the pulse of her destiny almost deafening. Steeling herself, she pushed the heavy doors open. The creaking echoed ominously, drawing attention. The vast chamber was bathed in a golden glow from the chandeliers overhead, casting an otherworldly glow across the polished floor. Draven stood there, every inch the ruler he was, his presence commanding and potent. Kira felt an inexplicable pull, her instincts screaming both danger and need. She wanted to run, to fight, but she also wanted to stay, to discover him. The space between them crackled with energy, and she could sense the impending chaos that would surely follow. But there was something else. Curiosity. Somewhere deep inside, a voice insisted this wasn't just about the mission, it was about who they were becoming. "Is this how it ends?" came his voice, low and resonant. Kira took a step back, adrenaline coursing through her like wildfire. Now, with nowhere to hide, she had to confront not just him, but herself. Was destiny pulling them together? Or would it shatter into pieces? The air thickened as Kira stood in the throne room, battling the whirlwind of emotions that surged within her. Draven's piercing gaze held her captive, his intensity cutting through the haze of confusion. She could see the muscles in his jaw flex, the way his posture shifted from a relaxed king to a poised predator, ready to pounce. "Are you here to kill me, assassin?" The question seemed to echo in the vast silence, resonating deep within her. The words hung heavily between them, tauntingly lingering in the air like a dark cloud threatening a storm. Kira swallowed hard. She could feel the dagger tucked within her tunic, the very reminder of her purpose. Yet somehow it felt utterly insignificant in this moment. She stammered, every instinct screaming to deny it. But the truth sat on the tip of her tongue, ready to break free. "I was sent to kill you." The admission felt like a weight lifted, yet it left her vulnerable, laid bare against the peak of danger. Draven scoffed, a shadow of amusement crossing his features. It was a dangerous reaction, one part curiosity, one part contempt. Laughter rang through the emptiness. "Yet here you stand, not even attempting to strike. You think I wouldn't notice you? A rogue in my castle? And yet you still stand behind your throne," Kira shot back, surprising even herself with the fire in her voice. She felt herself drawn to his presence, an unexplainable urge to reach out, to collide with the man standing before her. It gnawed at her, an insistent pull intertwined with fear and longing, an intricate tapestry woven from both light and shadows. Draven's expression shifted, and in that moment, the wisdom of a king shone through. "Is it only my life that you seek to end? Or something deeper? You've crossed my threshold. You've been drawn here." The truth in his words sent shivers racing down her spine. She was here. She had come, not just for the contract, but this was something more. A collision of fate, magic, and borrowed time. "Why do you care?" Kira spat, desperate for control amid the chaos unraveling around her. She could feel herself slipping, unraveling. "You're the great alphaking, aren't you? You hold power over life and death. Why do I matter?" "It doesn't always come down to power, Kira." Her name fell from his lips like an incantation, reaching into the depths of her being. Suddenly, she couldn't escape the reality of it all. He recognized her, and the intimacy of that connection twisted and turned within her, breaking walls and exposing vulnerabilities she had buried for so long. "Why don't you kill me?" he dared, threateningly. Kira's heart raced under the weight of his challenge. "Because," the word caught in her throat as she looked into his eyes, seeing the flicker of something genuine beneath the mask of the king. "It was not just about death. It was about understanding. Because you know there's more to our lives than just slashing through, sacrificing for a pay that barely touches our souls," he continued, stepping closer, the very air thick with tension. "What truth lies behind the assassin you've become?" Frustration bubbled inside her like a tempest. "Does he think he knows me? How can he?" But soon she felt herself softening, drawn to his intensity. Desire crept into her thoughts, blending dangerously with everything she had trained herself to resist. Acceptance, connection, love. "Your life isn't for me to take," she managed, her voice steadier now. "I wasn't meant to feel this tug, this draw to you. I was meant to be cold, unfeeling. And what have you achieved?" His voice was a blend of challenge and understanding. "Pain? Loneliness?" Draven's gaze bore into her, challenging her to confront the truth she had buried. A darkness loomed over her life, one she had been shackled to for years. In that moment, caught between their worlds, she felt the shadows peeling back, revealing a truth she hadn't been prepared for. "I wanted a purpose, a reason to exist beyond the assassin's blade," Kira breathed. "But I don't know if I can trust you." "Then trust yourself," he replied. "Trust the bond that brought you here. At the end of the day, we are all fighting for something. Freedom, redemption. Isn't our fight worth more than resigning to the chains that bind us?" Kira took a step back, heart racing. What was he offering? She could feel the depths of a connection swirling in the air between them. Her instincts were screaming, to kill him, to fight him. Yet everything inside urged her to stay. The moment stretched, hanging in the balance, charged with uncertainty and desire. The throne room stood silent, as if the past, present, and future converged around them, waiting for a choice to be made. Run, Kira. You can continue on your path of bloodshed, or stand beside me and shape a new legacy, he urged, sincerity threaded with danger. What do you want? What choice will you make? As chaos unfurled beyond the castle walls, the fate of their world shifted. The choice remained unvoiced, resting heavy between them, like a cliff awaiting a leap, uncertain yet enticing. Could she embrace the shadows that beckoned for acceptance? Or would she slip back into the dark, forever marked as the assassin she had been trained to be? In that moment of revelation, Kira understood. Neither of their paths would ever be the same again. The tension hummed in the air between them, a palpable force that both exhilarated and frightened Kira. With every heartbeat, she felt the gravity of Draven's words pulling her closer to the edge of a decision. The shadows that had clung to her life were beginning to unravel, revealing a glimmer of something brighter. "Stay with me for one night," he offered, voice low and steady, as if he sensed her wavering resolve. "No contracts, no demands, just a night. See who I truly am beyond the throne, beyond the rumors." A night? The thought sent her pulse racing anew. All her training screamed to resist, to reject the allure of connection, but a hesitant part of her dared to consider it. Could she trust this king, a man shaped by blood and power? "What do you know of my kind?" she challenged, feeling the anger flare up, defensive armor clamping around her heart. "What makes you think I'll just relinquish my mission? Do you really believe I can forget my past?" Draven stepped closer, his dark eyes locking onto hers. "I've seen too many lives lost to vengeance. I've lost much myself. You're not the only one with painful scars." Kira met his gaze, searching for any sign of deception, but found only honesty. Something stirred within her, a flicker of hope against the looming darkness, but it was accompanied by a hint of doubt. "Why should I trust you?" she whispered, impatience bubbling under her facade of bravado. "Because I understand what it means to let go of the past, to fight for something worth dying for," he replied, reaching out as if offering a lifeline closer than she'd ever anticipated. The air thrummed with magic and emotion. Kira shivered, the weight of his gaze intoxicating. It clawed at her heart, the understanding that there was a choice to be made, not just for her life, but for something much bigger. "Just one night," she finally relented, her voice barely above a whisper. "And then I leave. No more ties to you." The king nodded slowly, and a flicker of relief washed over his face. "You won't regret it." As the minutes melted away, he led her deeper into the castle, away from the throne room, the very heart of power. The corridors opened into lavishly decorated chambers, high ceilings, rich tapestries, and flickering candles that cast warm shadows. This was a place of wealth, of history, but somehow felt more alive than the cold shadows of her past. For a moment, Kira felt disoriented, the world outside fading away as Draven began to share stories of the land, the beautiful sunsets that painted the valleys, the festivals, the laughter of the people he served. She could see the passion in his eyes, but behind it lay an edge of wariness, as if he bore the weight of the crown upon his shoulders. Every word drew her in closer, the shimmer of possibility igniting something she thought had long since extinguished. Vulnerability danced between them like a fragile flame, daring them both to lean in. "Is this what you wanted to be?" Kira asked, curiosity creeping into her voice. "The king? The ruler?" Draven smiled, but it didn't quite reach his eyes. "This was thrust upon me. I don't just rule, I protect. There's a difference. Every day is a battle, keeping my kingdom safe from those who would plunge it back into darkness." The shadows of his life haunted him, much like her own. Kira felt the connection strengthen. "And what about you? Living in shadows?" he asked. "Don't you want more?" "More," she echoed, her voice heavy with uncertainty. "It's what I've always wanted, but there's a price to pay." "What if I told you that price can be worth it?" he pressed, stepping closer. Before she could respond, Draven took her hand, gently urging her forward to a large window. The starlit sky stretched out before them, a sea of shimmering possibilities. She felt the warmth of his touch. It was electric. Everything inside her urged her not to pull away. "I want to show you my world," he murmured. "Just look." The moonlight spilled into the room, bathing them in silver light as they watched the distant peaks on the horizon. It was breathtaking. "This kingdom belongs to the people," he continued, glancing at her. "This land, these lives, every decision shapes their future. I want to share it with you." A sense of longing swelled within her. For so long, Kira had fought against the world, alone. Hope felt distant, but how could she deny what stood before her? "Why me?" Kira finally asked. "You could have anyone. Why save a rogue assassin?" "Because there's a fire in you that's rare. Something worth fighting for," he replied, his voice rich with sincerity. "I see the strength behind the rage, how you've fought the good fight, even while carrying your demons." His words wrapped around her like a warm embrace, stirring the heart she thought was encased in ice. "And what if I don't want to be saved? Then we'll navigate this together," he said firmly, conviction ringing true in his tone. "We don't need to be enemies. You don't have to run or hide. You can find purpose in other ways." Kira took a steadying breath, the shadows of her past threatening to creep back in. She could feel the whispers, the ghosts of regrets, but his presence shattered that illusion. "And if I say yes? What then?" "Then together, we will rewrite our fates," he urged, gaze steady. "I won't offer you false promises, only an opportunity to create a life worth living." The air shifted, an electric current coursing through her, thrilling and terrifying. They stood wrapped in the moment, everything briefly suspended. Awareness of their breathing mingled, anticipation building between them as their surroundings faded into the background. Acceptance loomed just beyond reach, ready to challenge everything they believed. But even standing on the brink of hope, Kira found one question resonating within her. Could she truly abandon the life she had for the chance of something new? "Just give it a chance," Draven breathed, his eyes capturing hers like a whirlwind. As the seconds ticked by, Kira felt the last vestiges of doubt fade into the night. Perhaps it was time to embrace the shadows, not as chains, but as a bridge to a new beginning. Kira's heart raced as the flicker of possibility ignited within her. She took a deep breath, grounding herself in the moment. Every instinct told her to resist, to cling to the chains of her past. But the reality of Draven's unwavering gaze sparked something deep within her. Hope, uncertainty, a yearning for more. "Okay," she whispered, "I'll give it a chance. But don't think for a moment that I'll forget who I am." Draven smiled, a hint of relief washing over his features. "That's all I ask. Just a chance to show you that there's more to life than vengeance." But before Kira could savor the opening, a distant rumble echoed through the castle, a reminder that their world was far from safe. She felt the shift in the atmosphere, a warning that chaos was approaching. "Stay," Draven commanded, but it came out more as a plea. "I'll handle this." "No," Kira replied, every ounce of her being rejecting the idea of staying behind. "If there's danger, I'm not hiding. Not anymore." Draven hesitated, uncertainty shadowing his sharp features. "This isn't a game, Kira. You have to understand. I'm not afraid of danger," she asserted, heart pounding. "I've faced worse. I won't cower." With a resigned nod, he stepped forward, their shoulders brushing as they headed toward the large wooden doors that led to the main corridor. "Then stay close. Trust me to protect you." Together, they moved swiftly through the dim corridors, the tension palpable. Kira listened, senses on high alert as they approached the grand hall. The murmurs of guards echoed against the stone walls, a frantic rhythm that underscored the palpable fear in the air. When they pushed through the imposing double doors, the scene froze before them, a gathered assembly of nobles and soldiers, all wearing expressions of concern. "What's happening?" Draven's voice sliced through the chaos, firm yet commanding. A low murmur swept through the crowd as eyes turned toward him, questions hanging like swords in the air. "Your Majesty," one of the guards spoke, dread evident in his tone. "Reports of an attack. The northern borders are under siege. We've sighted a rogue Lycan clan moving in fast. They seek to undermine your authority, to throw the kingdom into disarray." Kira felt the heat of urgency racing through her. "A rogue clan? Why now?" Draven's jaw tightened, shadows darkening his features. "They sense weakness. They'll exploit any fracture they can find." "Then we can't wait," Kira interjected, confidence bubbling up within her. We can't let them reach the village. Let me help. We can take them by surprise. Draven's eyes bore into hers, the weight of that decision clear. This isn't the life you chose, Kira. You don't have to fight. I'm not a coward, she shot back fiercely. They'll come for you, and you'll need all the strength you can muster. With a heavy sigh, Draven finally acquiesced. Fine, but if you choose to fight, you'll do it by my side, as part of my team. I won't have you recklessly endangering yourself. Kira nodded, satisfied. It was a step forward, a shift in their dynamic, from enemies to allies. Just as they turned to rally the troops, another echo reverberated through the hall, a distant growl that sent chills racing down her spine. Rogue wolves prowled near. She could feel it. The air thickened with tension, fear tainting the edges of their resolve. "Gather the archers!" Draven barked, his voice booming. "Prepare for a frontal attack!" As the guards scrambled to follow orders, Kira found her place beside Draven, ready to stand shoulder to shoulder against whatever darkness lay ahead. "What's the strategy?" she asked, adrenaline fueling her resolve. "We'll set a defensive line. Hold them back. I'll go first," he replied. Before she could voice her protests, he had already moved ahead, his presence bold and defiant. Fear that had lingered in the background now surged forward, overwhelming her senses. Was this truly the moment where her life would pivot, where she would be forced to choose between survival and embracing who she could become? She watched as Draven rallied the troops, his voice cutting through the panic. "We defend what is ours. The people depend on us. If they breach our defenses tonight, chaos will reign. Protect your kin. Protect your kingdom." The echoes of his determination filled Kira's heart. Each soldier turned toward him, resolute, ready to follow. It ignited something powerful within her, a sense of purpose beyond vengeance. As they took their positions, Kira's instincts sharpened. The outer walls loomed like sentinels, the landscape stretching before them, shadows dancing across the ground. The wind carried the scent of impending storm, a mixture of damp earth and danger. Draven took his place beside her, unyielding. "When they come, we fight together," he affirmed, his gaze steady. "You will follow my orders and trust my lead." "I'm not afraid," she whispered, though uncertainty lurked just beneath the surface. "You should be, but together, we stand a chance." Moments felt like lifetimes as tension thrummed through their bodies, waiting for the impending chaos to unfold. And then it came, the thunder of weighty paws pounding against the ground, the howls rising like a chorus of madness in the night. Kira's heart thundered in her chest. "Now!" Draven commanded, and they leapt into action, the world around them shifting into a battle cry. The clash began, chaos erupting as they faced the incoming horde. Kira fought fiercely, her warrior instincts taking over. She remembered the years of training, the countless hours honing her skills. Here, in the heat of battle, she knew she could unleash her fury. As she found a rhythm striking back against the rogues, adrenaline fueled her movements. Everything felt electrifying and terrifying at once, the fire within her alight. In the chaos, she caught sight of Draven, his presence a beacon of strength, leading the charge with grace. Their eyes met, a moment of understanding sparking between them. It was a fight not just for survival, but for everything they could become together. With every strike, every roar, Kira felt the chains of her past begin to shatter into pieces. For the first time, she wasn't just an assassin seeking revenge. She was a warrior fighting for what she believed in, her home, her people, and the bond she was forming with the man standing beside her. But as the battle raged on, a shadow fell over her heart. This was her chance to embrace this new future, but could she truly step away from the darkness and let the light lead her? As the night unfolded, Kira braced herself for the final push, ready to confront her deepest fears. The possibility of love intertwined with the harsh reality of war. Could she embrace this new purpose, or would the shadows claim her once more? With Draven by her side, Kira felt the power of their connection, a beacon leading them through the storm of chaos, beckoning her to leap toward destiny. The battlefield erupted around Kira, chaos swirling like a tempest. She fought with fierce determination, adrenaline coursing through her veins as she faced the rogues lunging toward her. Each blow felt empowering, her years of training igniting a fire deep within her. Draven fought alongside her, a formidable force that anchored her in the whirlwind. Their alliance was electric, every clash of their weapons synchronized in a dance of survival. Kira felt alive in a way she never had before, as if the shadows of her past were finally breaking apart. Then, a low growl cut through the chaos. Kira turned just in time to see a massive figure pushing its way through the ranks. A rogue Lycan, menacing and fearless. It was the leader, and he was coming straight for Draven. Her heart dropped. "Draven!" she shouted, urgency spiking her adrenaline. "I see it!" he growled, eyes narrowed in fierce concentration. But Kira couldn't wait. Instinct took over. She pushed forward, positioning herself between Draven and the rogue leader. "Get back!" she yelled, gripping her blade tightly. The rogue lunged, all teeth and claws. Kira sidestepped, narrowly avoiding the attack, and retaliated with a thrust of her blade, only to realize the rogue was still on its feet, furious and ready for another attack. "Move aside, Kira!" Draven's command was forceful, slicing through the clamor around them. "No, I'm not hiding!" she yelled, despite her pounding heart. With a primal growl, the rogue lunged again. This time, Kira's blade found its mark, plunging deep into the beast's chest. A moment of silence fell, and then the rogue slumped, its howl cut short. The battlefield paused as everyone turned to witness its fall. Draven's eyes widened with awe and respect. "You did it! You took down their leader!" Kira gasped, disbelief washing over her. I didn't know I could." "Now we have the upper hand," he said, urgency fueling his voice. The remaining rogues hesitated, fear creeping in as their leader lay defeated. Kira and Draven exchanged a glance overflowing with unspoken understanding. They had transformed this battlefield into a place of strength, not just survival. "Rally the troops," Draven commanded, voice rising over the din. "Push the attack." With renewed confidence surging through her, Kira integrated herself into the fray, fighting side by side with the soldiers. The tide turned, and the rogues began to retreat, unraveling under the force of their sudden defeat. But even surrounded by victory, doubt lingered. Could she truly leave the darkness behind? Draven's fierce determination fueled her resolve, and the bond they fought for solidified in those harrowing moments. As the last rogue fled, cheers erupted around them, echoing off the castle walls. Kira felt the warmth of acceptance wash over her. She had found her place not just as a warrior, but as a partner beside Draven. "Kira," he said, stepping closer, the noise fading into the background. "You fought for us, for what we can become together." "I couldn't stand back," she replied breathlessly, "but I wasn't sure I belonged. Not until now." Draven's gaze held the weight of certainty. "You do belong. With me. Together, we can build a future worth fighting for." As the moonlight bathed the aftermath in a soft glow, Kira embraced the change within her. The shadows she once clung to dissipated in the light of their victory. She glanced around at those who fought beside them, their unity a powerful reminder of the path forged through struggle. "What's next?" Kira asked, her voice steadier now, hope glimmering in her chest. "Next, we ensure our kingdom is safe, and that peace is restored," Draven replied, a hint of a smile crossing his face. "But we'll do it together." In that moment, Kira knew her decision was made. She would walk alongside Draven, ready to face whatever came next, united, fierce, and unyielding. As the cheers rose around them, a sense of hope filled her heart. They stood ready to shape their destiny, uniting to transform the kingdom into something stronger, something that would endure. If you enjoyed the story of Kira and Draven, their fierce battle and unwavering bond, subscribe for more epic Lycan King romances. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a story. And remember, courage lies within those who choose to fight for love and purpose. Thank you for listening.